I've had to do this now because it's the best way to keep track, especially with the scene work, because there's so many little bits and bobs when it comes to actually putting the scenes together. So we'll go through that in a sec. I managed to do some of them over the weekend, but one thing kept me occupied way longer than it should have. This one here. It's a bug. I'm gonna fix it though and figure it out. I don't want to stop, but this one's the culprit for why I'm had a late night, because it's a bad one, but I have hope. It's going well today. I got in some side quest stuff on one of the chat games I was playing. I might have some hot chocolate later. Hot chocolate sounds good. I like hot chocolate, but I haven't had any in a while. I always have to be careful with how much milk I drink lately. Alright, I'm going to show you something, folks. Let's get Photoshop up. Soy milk. So yeah, I have that quite often, and almond milk, all the plant milks. You can use coffee. So here's Nigel, everyone. We have to thank Vandalia for this, because they made this blanket asset, and how cute. It was a pillow last stream. If you was here last stream, folks, he was like holding on to a pillow, because the idea with Nigel is, where was our inspiration? I think I've crossed it off. We had a GIF that was our inspiration for this, and the reason we've decided to do this is so that it fits far more with what is happening with Nigel and what's going on. Just a summary: his sister's left, and he doesn't like it when his sister leaves. He gets anxious, and he's very reliant on her. And current Nigel is just standing there as if nothing's bothering him at all. So we want to just give him a bit more character, so it fits better with the situation and the context of the scene. It's really adorable. Yes, he's very, very sweet, and he looks like he got out of bed and he's scared. He's an innkeeper, so there are plenty of sheets and blankets in the inn for him to have. So that's very convenient, and this blanket's going to play a role in a future side quest too. You can actually loot it later, but when he's put it down. And I've done him from the side as well. So there we go. So he'll be facing that way at first, but then when you talk to him, he'll like switch to that view. Now it's going to be a challenge to we know that we want it to be folded up on the side after this, because that will allow us to loot it and have it in our inventory. But it's probably going to be too ambitious for me to pull off as an actual animation, because we'd have to see him fold the blanket and plop it down. So what I'm thinking is, he'll stay like this during the talking scene when he gives you the quest, and then the next time you walk in the inn, it'll be there folded, able for you to pick up. And maybe there'll be there'll be a couple of opportunities when you can get that, but then at some point you'll not be able to get it after a certain amount of time has passed in the game, or something has triggered you to not be able to pick it up anymore. But there'll be one or two opportunities for you to grab that, and that's for a side quest that we talked about a few months ago, which we're not going to talk about too much yet because it's not side quest time. But it's nice that we've linked this in with that this early on. So we'll have to make a folded blanket asset, but that's going to be easy peasy to do because we've already got. I'll probably just use this asset for that. Let's find it. The same one I'm using for the hero's clothes folded up inside Carol the Barrel. We'll use that one. Here. This little folded up thing here, we'll just turn it the same colour as that. We'll pick the colours out of it, and then we'll see it folded on the side afterwards, and Nigel won't be holding it anymore. Hi Rod, how's it going? How are you going to make this blanket special? It's a very special blanket. That's the thing. Well, no it isn't. It's literally just a boring old blanket, but it has a purpose. That's the point. You know, RPGs, loot. I don't want to make any item like pointless, otherwise it's a waste of my time and energy to make an asset for it. But if it's gonna be important in a certain branch, or for someone's character, or it's gonna build the world somewhat in an intriguing way, then I'm all for it. And you could just have turn or walk to wherever he's leaving it, and then just match the frame where he doesn't have the blanket with the frame where the blanket sprite spawns, or obviously your idea of it just being there next time works too. Yeah, I could try. I mean, I've got to be really careful, folks, because like one rule I've given myself while doing this project is to not put too much on myself in regards to splitting myself in too many roles with the RPG, because I've always said that's the reason I don't do the art assets, not a considerable amount of them anyway, because it would not only increase development time significantly, but it will also drain my energy significantly too, because I'm time, energy, all that. But I've kind of in the last week decided I am going to put more focus on animation, and I think it's well worth it, because we'll have more real, living, breathing characters with more character to them. So why wouldn't I do that if it's going to make our RPG better? But at the same time, still got to be smart. So when it comes to scenes and animations, I'll take shortcuts, of course, if it means it's going to be easier for me to code in. If it's going to take me a day rather than 2 weeks to do a scene, and the difference in quality isn't really a big deal, then yeah, of course I'll have to be smart about it, because it would be quite a bit bad if I spend 2 weeks doing something and it's like, well, actually we could have just done it that way. But you know, I'll read that after stream. You never know, there could be an easy way to do it. But if I find that the animation doesn't look natural when he's putting the blanket down, and I'm like, actually this kind of looks a bit like tacky, then I'll just go for the option of it being there the next time we're walking in. And hi Van, how are you doing? Yeah, I was just talking about you, saying we have to thank Vandalia for this fabulous blanket asset. It was very awesome of you to do that, because you did it off your own back. We were just going to go for the pillow, which the pillow worked. It wasn't going to be terrible, but this just adds much more, and I think it's cuter. And I think it just kind of fits better with what we're trying to get across with him. The only issue, like as you can see, I have done the left face one, which is great too, and I think it's fine. Proportionally, it works and makes sense. The only thing that's a struggle with this is the actual animation. As you can probably see, there's only one frame in here. What we did last time, it was a very simple thing, so it will take me 5 seconds to literally do, was that we moved him 1 pixel across horizontally to create the effect of him shaking out of fear. But the only issue is with pixel art, 1 pixel is massive, even just shifting 1 pixel. So it feels like it could be, and this might just be my own head, but I'm a bit skeptical of whether this animation works, because it's such a 1 pixel, such a drastic difference. and it might look weird, and I'm not sure. That's why I want to ask you guys' opinion on what you think of that animation. I mean, in game it's going to be smaller, so it might not look as severe, the shake, as it does zoomed in. But yeah, so I was kind of thinking, should we go for it, that, or should we keep it just still holding the blanket? Or if has anyone got any other thoughts of how we could approach it in a simple way, of course, because as I said, we're not going to go all out and make the most ambitious animations in the world. We just don't have the time, resources and funds to do that, but we can do a good job minimally, you know, and make something, think of a smart way to approach animation. So yes, what do you think, chat? Let's catch up. Vanderveer is king, and I thought it would be important because maybe he goes through an art where he can't have his blanket, needs to learn how to not be afraid when his sister is not around. Well, in fact, the fact that you can loot the blanket means that there could be some sort of emotional response from Nigel with that blanket being gone, which I think makes sense, because it would be a bit weird if you looted the blanket and Nigel said absolutely nothing, or there was absolutely no comment on the fact that you thieved something. I think there should be some kind of consequence, and because the blanket itself, you having it, is going to affect a future side quest in a positive way, there has to be some other consequence elsewhere, otherwise it'll be too perfect, that route. And I'm not for the perfect ending or the perfect branch. Every single branch in this game, I'd like it to have a mixture of like good things and bad things that could potentially happen in the story and affect characters' lives in a different way. Otherwise, it makes it too easy which choice to go for, which kind of defeats the purpose of this sort of genre of game, in my opinion. Even though some people like playing that games that way, I had a really interesting conversation with my sister's partner about this over Christmas, because he loves games that let you be the good guy or let you be the bad guy, like kind of more black and white. And he says he wasn't as into he didn't dislike The Witcher 3. He says he really appreciated what they did and it was a super good RPG, but he didn't like that both branches were kind of negative. No matter what you did, there was always a bad kind of consequence from it. He likes games where there's this heroic consequence, where it's like everything's perfect in the world, which that's okay, it's an opinion, but I'm like, nah, I like it to be more real. Hi Master Emerald, how you doing? It's so good to see you. Hope you're having a good Monday. And maybe just have the animation be just for a few seconds and then stop it. Then it will be a nervous reaction but not jarring for the player, just to give a feel. Yeah, I'm all for subtlety, and I don't want it to give this impression that it's overdone, that it almost looks silly in the scene. And my mouse is very much dying. I've got a trick to save it. I have to just turn it on and off. It's wireless, unfortunately, so it does probably need a new battery, but I don't have any. I need to order some online, so let's hope it doesn't completely run out. But that's an idea, like in the scene with Nigel, maybe he can be like that for a bit, and then until he sees you, and then he might like stop or I don't know, and get up and then turn around. He definitely shouldn't be doing it the whole time, because that could be very distracting. But I was even thinking, I googled RPG Maker Shake event or Shake character effect to see if there was a plugin that let you do it in a more subtle way, where it kind of just shook like a quarter of a pixel or something. I did look for a plugin like that, but that actually does it in engine via a script, but I don't know if one exists for MV. I know that one existed for the RPG Maker before this one, and at first I thought that was the one for MV, and I was a bit bummed out to see that it was for the previous one, and I was like, So if there was a plugin that did I'd be curious to try it out that way and see how that worked in comparison. But of course, because it's doing it as an actual animation like this means that is the most subtle we can go for, because that is 1 pixel movement, and the difference is massive with pixel art at a small scale when you even just move it 1 pixel. I think it would be good if the ink costs a lot more every time you use it. Well, it all like every inn in the game will be different depending on who runs it and the sort, because Lightfall's a very humble village and they're not like money grabbers really, and Nigel himself is extremely passive. So, and Fiona is a bit different though. She's a little bit more spunky and a bit, if she's more likely to do something like that. But yeah, it's all, we'll only do things that make sense in this game, and if it fits for the character then, and it's entertainment value, yeah. But we won't do salty things just for the sake of being assholes. And you could just jump movement rock to show his surprise, have him shift 1 space on the y-axis instead of shaking if worse comes to worse. Yeah, the jump movement route is something I use quite a lot. Carol the Barrel does it all the time, and it like makes it seem like she's having a temper tantrum. She like jumps on the spot 3 times, like when she gets angry. So I could experiment with that as well. I mean, I don't know if you know if there's any plugins like Event Shake Effects X, because I know you're kind of in the know about what's available on RPG Maker and V, but if there isn't, we'll figure something. I mean, you guys have already given some suggestions, so I'm sure we can do at least one of those that makes sense. And hi Julian, how are things going? So after he shakes, you could have him blink, so afterwards it continues a sort of nervous effect. Yeah, I was thinking of his face as well, and that was something I was going to do afterwards as well, potentially, like have him like close his eyes for just a second and then open them again. That's a simple enough animation, it can be done in a minute, so yeah, we could easily do something like that. And oh, you mean if you steal the blanket? Yeah. I think out of looking at them as characters, Fiona is more likely the sort of person that would get a bit mad at you for stealing the blanket. Especially if you pushed her in the lake. She'll hold a bit of a grudge against you and purposely look for reasons to dislike you. But Nigel would probably just let you get away with it even then. And that's why you can steal the blanket when Nigel's in the inn alone early on in the game. Once Fiona's back, you won't. That'll be when you won't be able to steal it anymore. But Nigel's passive and kind enough to just let you take it. He's unfortunately, the poor guy is easily bullied. He's already getting bullied by a group of roots in the game. You've been following since 20. I was going to ask Crow, I was going to ask today, I was going to ask you where you found the stream. So that's intriguing. Do you remember what I was doing in 2018 when you followed? Hey Rose, try this option. Making 1 event shake. Is that the one for MV? Because I know I found one last night and I was like, yay, we got one. And then I saw it was for VX8 and I was like, oh yeah, it's for VX8, it's the same one. I was like convinced. I was like, yeah, this is the one, and then I realised that it was for VX8. Unfortunately, the forum I don't think makes it obvious enough. Like you only realise which one it's for when you look at like the top bit there, but it's not really obvious enough. I think they need to make it stand out more, because so many times have I opened things like that and thought of plugins for MV, and then it's found it's for another RPG Maker engine. So I kind of hope that there is one for MV if I search enough. I haven't spent enough time to dedicate to that yet, but actually know nothing about plugins. Everyone played with just sort of few of Yanfly's plugins. Oh really, that's awesome, Dexy. I think it's better to try and use as less plugins as possible so you don't come across incompatibility problems down the road. It's definitely smart, but sometimes you have no choice, do you, if you want to achieve something that the engine doesn't let you do. Might have met you through someone. I'm intrigued now. But I'm glad we spoke about Nigel, because he's one of the things on our task. I've got a full-on list now of things, and I've put animate because that isn't what we've done yet, but because we've done the asset and crossed it off. And I did want to move on to scene 3 today, and I'm like, oh, I so want to move on to scene 3, but because there's still things to fix and finish with scene 1 and 2, I'm very reluctant, because I'm one of these people that like to fix. I think I feel better knowing I've done the previous ones before moving on to the next. Some people like to just roughly do it and then go over and perfect it after. So there's a few things to do. This is something I've got to fix off stream. I'm in the middle of trying to sort it out, and it's a bug. It's something to do with the JavaScript code but I need to figure it out. I might go on Stack Overflow. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to show, well, we did Duncan holding the axe. I did show you that last time, didn't I? It's right here, and that's going to be implemented in scenes, because scene 1 is nearly done now. It's just that stupid missing frame bug that's held me back, really. This would have been done long before otherwise. Spent way too many hours trying to fix that. Carol the Barrel, I've done a wooden bow and arrow and axe now. That was one of the things I mentioned last stream that needed doing, and they're the same colour. The wood is the same colour as the trees in Lakefall, so that's the colour scheme is consistent, so it looks like, it's from the area. And I have a wetter section. Oh, there we go, they've got it on their back there, and same with the bow on another. So that's the wooden weapon, and this is the cliff rock and vine weapon that will be sold in the shops, and that's the one that Duncan owns, because his shop is full of them, and you'll be able to buy one yourself when you can. So there's obviously going to be a progression. You start with weak weapons and you gradually get strong weapons. So we figured wood is a great, early game weapon, because it's just so basic, and cliff and rock seemed like a good second step up from that. And the reason why it's so good is because it fits with the setting of Lakefall as well. That brownish colour of this is the same colour as the cliffs of Lakefall. That this green's the same colour as the trees, and the wood's the same colour as the wood on the trees as well. So it all visually matches, because I'm not a fan of picking a weapon that just is so random and doesn't fit with the world. So I think that's worked out nice. And because we've only got a warrior and hunter in the game, we've only got the 2 weapons at the moment, but as we get more classes, we'll have other weapons that match with the visuals for these 2. And I've kind of got a progression idea of how this is very rough. This is really rough because we don't know for sure what it's going to be, but it's good to have a rough plan. And we already know that it's going to be at 6 episodes, because we roughly planned that just before Christmas when we had a world map stream, and we picked the biomes together, the different environments and where they were on the map, and I sort of plotted out which episode, which biome, which environment, which region of the world would be in which episode, and I figured that could be a sort of progression thing, and the episode 6 would like be legendary, like weapons and super like awesome materials that are very rare, basically. But yeah, that's, I think, wood, rock, bronze, iron, steel, silver, gold, diamond, and then extra special coming after that is probably good progression, and it kind of would maybe fit with the environment too. So it wouldn't be too hard to imagine it going something like that. Obviously I'm not going to be designing all those weapons now. It's just there as a sort of plan and outline, so that you know, we got in mind how it could go at a basic level. And okay, this one also recommended for MV. Oh, thanks, Van. I'll have a look at that one too. To create sprites that have more than 3 frames of animation you need, but will sometimes make the character shake as if it was trembling. Interesting. So I am going to look at this, and if it turns out there is a plugin that does it well, I'll probably go for that. Even though, like, sometimes you don't want to get carried away and have a plugin for every little thing you do. If that's going to look better and work better than the current animation we've got for Nigel, then I'd go for it. So I'll just test and see what works best. And just test both in the scene and come to the conclusion of which one works best. So it says, can create sprites. Let's have a quick peek. Because I have a plugin similar to this one that lets me specify things with animations, which has allowed me to be a bit more ambitious in scenes. But I don't think the one I've got allows a shake or anything like that. So whether this one does, maybe it does. I'll have a proper look at that. Rip. Not a rip at all. I would have started with swords. Yeah, the swords is definitely going to be a thing in the game. You cannot not have a sword. And we have a knight playable character, so. But he's not going to be coming till probably episode 2, at least. And it definitely, with how primitive Lightfall is, it definitely works that axe and bow and arrow fit perfectly. Any plans for the evening and week to come? Working my butt off and staying up till 6 a.m. Right. Yep. I'm gonna try and have early nights, but in all honesty, I just feel guilty and a bit crappy about myself and feel like I'm not doing enough, and I don't like that feeling. So sometimes I just prefer doing the extra work. I'm somebody that has the attitude, if you're not going to try and you're not going to bother putting the time in, then you're not going to ever do something. So the goal is to work my butt off and be here. What do they call it, the crunch, in game dev. I'm putting the crunch on myself. I'd never do the crunch for someone else ever in a million years, but if I'm choosing to do the crunch, then it's not as bad because it's out of my own choice. But the crunch in general is the worst. And if anyone ever makes you crunch, then tell them to poop off. I hate that feeling. It's nagging me about my uni work. Yeah, it's just always there with me, and I just know if I was like, I'm just going to go to bed, I'm going to be lazy today, the next day I'll just feel terrible, and that I never do it. I'm always working, and I'm addicted to, I like the feeling, like I like doing my work more than anything else. But I don't like that there's not enough time. I don't like that there's not enough hours in a week. instead of 24-hour days and 7 days a week, I feel like it should be 40-hour days that are 10 days a week. That'll be a bit better. I'd get to fit in a bit more then. Just not enough time. I'm going to be 70, everybody, in no time, and be an old lady, but that's not bad. I'd rather be an old lady that looks back on their life and think, oh, I've done such cool things, I've created such awesome things, than be an old lady and be like, what have I even done with what have I even done? Just watch TV all day, watched soap operas and trash reality TV, then I'd be very disappointed in myself. But if I was like, oh, I've created some really cool projects, then I'd be proud. I'm doing the crunch to be a character. Oh, doing the raindrop crunch, the lurking in the stream, is the best job in the world. Let's admit it. And wishing for time manipulation powers in real life, yes. I know. I've been reading about Concerned Ape and stuff, because he's like really inspiring to me. The guy that created Stardew Valley, because he like did the crunch for 4 years to release Stardew Valley, but he like loved it, you know. You get a fulfillment out of creating something, and doing the crunch for your own thing is really, really satisfying, for sure. And for two fun fact things are circadian rhythms actually function better on a 25-hour day during the French Revolution. They actually changed to, oh yes, see Zexy, this is why they need to do it. If I was like president, that's what I'd do. I'd have a 10-day week, and people would have like 5-day weekends. So that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? People would have 5-day weekends. I think that'd be really cool. Well, that sounds so fun. I mean, I don't even have a 9 to 5, so it's not like that would make me like right now. But I just think that's what's best. I don't like the work-driven society of today. You know, it's got worse and worse over the decades, and it's only going to continue to get worse. It's not even a 9 to 5 anymore. It's like an 8 till 10 p.m. That's what it's like. Or 8 a.m. till midnight for some. I know I had a friend that was like that. They worked like 16 hours a week in their job. But I'm not going to lurk. You are, though. You are. Okay, so... awesome. So we've done well when you think, I mean, I'm like, oh no, I haven't done as much as I wanted to because of a bug stopping me what I'm wanted to do. But when you look at what we've done since last week, we didn't have Duncan or Nigel like this last week, so still progress. And okay, so let's just have a quick look at our list. So this is the thing that's been the pain. I know the culprit. I spent like hours yesterday and Saturday figuring out what the hell was wrong, and I know who the culprit is now. But I need because I'm not really knowledgeable about JavaScript. I'm kind of like, I don't get it, but I'm gonna go on Stack Overflow and kind of figure it out, and I'm sure there'll be a fix for it. And we can do the outfits for the warrior and hunter. Everything else is just little tiny bits that I can, like this thing here. We talked about a bit last stream, and that as well. So I'm up for thoughts, if anyone has any thoughts about that, because we did talk about that a bit last stream, about potentially expanding on the questions you can ask Nigel. The dialogue flow is in the Law Bible, so if anyone has thoughts, feel free to say. But I know Zexion said something last stream about that, and I'm going to review the VOD and take it into consideration. But we'll stick to the visual things for now, just so we can get the visual scene stuff out the way. And one thing I did want was to change the outfits to something else, because currently, let's just look at what our current outfits are. That's what I've given the hunter, and this is what I've given the warrior. They're good generic outfits, but because we have a system now where we can change our outfits over the course of the game, as well as our weapons, we're not limited to just having the same outfit throughout the entire game like we had to originally with our custom hero. I was thinking it would make sense for progression reasons, and this being the start of the game, to have something a little bit tatty, worn looking, or just not something epic. Basically, we don't want to be wearing the most epic, shiny looking warrior and hunter outfit ever when we're at early game. You know, we could get badass hunter and warrior outfits as we progress. But yeah, let's get something a bit just basic for now. And I mean, these outfits are fine, the ones we got, and we could potentially use those ones for things that are sold in shops to buy as gear later on. But I think especially the warrior one just looks far too armoured for this stage of the game. And even the hunter one's a little bit armoured, and I feel like we want to be wearing, caveman outfits, if anything. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I feel like we should be more cloth or leather based than metal at this point, just for consistency, especially the fact that we're equipped with wooden equipment as well. If we got a wooden axe or wooden bat, it only makes sense to have something that visually matches with that. So I have been hunting down tall sprite clothing assets that could work for that, so we'll look at that in a sec. So that's just one of the small jobs that need doing, and I could cross that off when it's done. I also need to add the new axe and bow to the custom hero creator. So when you say you're a hunter, then you'll not only have your new outfit on, but you'll have the weapon on the back of your back as well. And then it's just fixing the bug once the outfit stuff is done, which I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to make that tonight's task. And then it's just getting Nigel in the scene. He's already in the scene, by the way. I did a test play, and he looks amazing. We'll have a little peek at that later. But it's just that little shake animation to deal with. And also getting Duncan holding the axe. But I'm kind of wanting to get that bug out of the way first before progressing on to any more animation and scene work. But there's not too much left to do, as you can see. So I'm confident we can move on to scene 3 next stream. We could have done it today. I could have been like, yeah, this is all little bits that I can just do after. But I'm going to try and not progress until we've done the previous work. And I hope it's all pleasant and you have a good evening. You too, Rod. I hope that whatever you're doing is fun. Feel free to tell us what you've been up to yourself. And to be honest, Rod, I know you've probably got more exciting things to tell us than what I've got to tell you. My days are all the damn same. Now and again I might do something out of the ordinary, but it's a rarity. And I'm lucky that the school I'm at is meant to be 8 to 3:30 to 4 in terms of hours, but adding uni work onto that is a time sucker. Oh right, yeah. For sure, but you'll get there in the end, Master Emerald, and you'll feel awesome. Same as me, but I'll get there when I release the first playable build of Raindrop Chronicles, and I'll feel awesome. So we'll get there. I believe in us. And I just started. The Hunter looks cooler. Yeah, well, Hunter is more popular because I did a poll a while ago and Hunter won. But more reason to make Warrior be super badass in battle, so people will feel like they're missing out. And training clothes to go with our training axe, indeed. Did you take a look at that little story? I don't cry because I just don't have time, guys. It's really difficult for me to even sit and play a game for an hour or read a book for an hour. I've got a series up there, the Dark Tower series, which I wanted to continue reading this time last year or over a year ago. Like, I love the Dark Tower. But I can't even finish my favourite series because I'm so busy. I just wish I did have more time, but unfortunately, if I decided to do fun things and read and play games and watch movies and chill, and I wouldn't get Raindrop Chronicles done, and Raindrop Chronicles is my ultimate priority in life. That is like my everything. Reading in this economy, Rose, don't be ridiculous. It's like we were talking about hours in the day, you know. If maybe they had 40-hour days, 10 days a week, I'd be able to fit a few extra things in then. That'd be good, that'd be nice. It's just scaring me how it's already February, because it was Christmas yesterday. That's what I mean, it feels like it was Christmas just yesterday. We're already in Feb. It's going to be the end of 2021 soon. And I'm going to be 50. Maybe you should get some help with development. Yeah, that's the thing, Crow. It's this interesting thing because being a solo dev is like so cool. And I'll admit it, I couldn't do a team project. I have to have control and I have to know I'm doing it myself, that it's all mine. Because as soon as someone else has like equal say in something, I'm not going to get that same fulfillment, and it's going to feel more like a job than my dream and my passion in life. And one thing I do want to do, I mean, I say that, but I do want to outsource and I do want to commission, because that's different. I'm not giving away my rights then, or my sort of control. I'm just getting the workload off me. But of course, to outsource and commission, you need money. You need a lot of money, not even just a bit. You need thousands and thousands of pounds. That's why games are so expensive. When you look at what games have spent, their budgets, you're like, what the hell? So yeah, that's the thing. It's not that I don't want to do it, it's that I can't. So I have to just do the best I possibly can with what I've got and what I'm able to do. It feels that way. I've been a little less stressed here because of the change in leadership in US. That is a big relief, and I think it was one of the better things that happened last year, because 2020 was a bad year, but that was one of the lights, one of the good points of the year. If it was me, I just want the game done. What do you mean, Crow? You just want the game done, as in you'd just be impatient and you'd be like, let's just rush it? Is that what you mean? My mindset's the absolute complete opposite of that. Well, no, games are so expensive because their marketing budgets are bloated and the series get huge bonuses at their pen sales. Yeah, well, that's corrupt for a start as well. Luckily, I don't have to deal with that nonsense. This is why I like indie. But even so, there's no way I'd be happy with outsourcing work for free. Like, if I was like, okay, chat, you do this for me right now, and like, I'm not gonna have chat do things for me for free. Sometimes like people have done stuff and it's been off their own backs, which is awesome, but no one's ever going to get forced to do it. And unless someone likes me but puts a little time here and there to, exactly, as Van says, I says it just as you did. If someone like wants to do something just because they're an awesome human and they think, yeah, I've got a bit of time to do this and I haven't asked them to do it, then that's fine. But you'll never catch me like getting people together to do things for me. Just couldn't. And I'm lucky that I've quite like a general skill set, I'd say. I'm not like a pro in everything, but I can dabble here and there in different areas, and that ability makes me able to at least somewhat pull off this project. Because if I couldn't do a bit of everything, then I'd be like, oh no. And supporting for development but not rushing the game, but helping out if you can in any way you can. Yeah, it's just budget. What it comes down to, I mean, as Sexy says, sometimes it can be a little bit more, there's a bit more to it, but ultimately I have zero money. There's no money because I don't have a job other than doing this. This is my job. So I'm not a millionaire. No, God, I'm nowhere close. Not even minimum wage. So I'd love to have the extra resources to do what I do. And you know, I get you know, you guys, I know my Twitch revenue is nothing like amazing, and it's nowhere close to even part-time, never mind full-time job, but saving up for just that could eventually get a commission somewhere and allow me to outsource something, which is what I'm sort of doing right now, and that's the aim. But yes, it's just time. That's why people do Kickstarters, so that they can outsource elsewhere. But we can't. A Kickstarter, I'm very confident in this project, but I don't think we'd be ready for anything like that. I don't think we'd meet the goal. So maybe one day we would, but not quite at this present time. I'm not a millionaire. That sounds suspiciously something a vampiric millionaire would say. Yeah. If I was, everything would go on outsourcing. I'd so do that because I'd be passionate about making Raindrop Chronicles a unique experience and one of a kind game. It would be all custom made, and I'd even probably outsource scripters as well to make all my dream plugins or codes. But oh yeah, and marketing materials. I'd get loads of awesome other stuff done as well. Millionaire Rose is a gillionaire. Guys, I only wish, because money is the thing that limits me from achieving what I really want. Being skin is a pain, but what can you do? I mean, we manage him, and the project's great for what a zero budget project can be. I feel that. But you know, the question is, can a zero budget project be limiting? Can it be off-putting or be bad? LOL. David hitting us with the puns. I haven't even got the pun because I don't. I'm slow. I'm like, that was a pun. I don't get jokes, everybody. That's one thing I don't get. I have to have them explained to me. Okay. So, outfit time. As in Gil, I get it now. I'm the worst. Okay. So, I've found some assets that might work. So I'm going to just save them. They're going to take some editing though. because there isn't anything that works amazingly well for a sort of early game 1 armour equipment, but I found a couple that could work if we change the colours a bit. So we'll see what we can do. And we might edit them a touch. We could always rip them a little bit if we want to make them worn. No, that's some bows. Look at Stardew Valley, a 1-person dev team making extraordinary games, selling it for 15 on Steam and giving free LD. Yeah, so I was saying earlier, I don't know if you was here, Van, that Concerned Ape is the one person I look at. I've been reading interviews, seeing his process when he begun and how it was for him. There's a lot that reminds me of myself with what he did, like how he did Stardew Valley. He worked all the time on it, like all day, every day for 4 years, and did nothing else ever. And it started, I saw some early screenshots of Stardew Valley in its first year of development, and what it looked like then is so different to what it looked like after. There was real progression there, and it's very inspiring because he was one person that did do it all himself. He was published by what was the name of the publishers? You know, the people that do Starbound. I think those were the ones. So he did have a publisher there, which can kind of take a weight off your shoulders to some degree, because but he did, like, you know, he did all the art himself, he did all the programming himself and the game itself. So there's a lot you can accomplish as one person indie dev. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I think I'm managing okay. Obviously, because I'm one person, sometimes the speed of the project can be considerably slower than I'd want it to be. But I kind of have to have the mindset of one step at a time. This isn't a race, it's no rush. As long as you're doing something and seeing progress, that's good. I also believe that with experience, and once I get used to the workflow, it will get even easier and I'll get more pro. For sure, and yeah, we'll see. I can't find the assets I saved. Where are they hiding? I appreciate the encouragement and belief you have in me, Vandalia. That's for sure. My mouse is being funny. It was just like exactly, and like I said, it has to be. If you wanna, you know, do an ambitious project, whatever it is, you can't just do it casually. You have to commit, fully go all in to see it, if you want to see it like brought to life. But I honestly think that it like, for me, it's not even forced. Like, it's not like I ever feel I'm making myself do it. I just do it because I love it. It's not a chore. It has never felt like a chore to me, which makes me feel very, very positive about this whole thing. So let's have a look at this one. This was the one I was thinking for the hunter. So we've got the cape. I think the cape is essential to the hunter, but the gear that they're wearing looks far more like cloth then it does metal like the current one. So I'm thinking, let's just remove the head off this and add it to our body, make a few edits where needed while my mouse, and see how it looks. And if we want to add a few wears and tears just to give it the appearance of being worn and basic level armor, then we can do. But this would fit. This would be a good fit. We might need to change it for the male body though a touch, because I think it's slightly bit wider on the masculine torso. But I'm not going to get rid of these old ones because they could be grey armour for another shop can sell. Let it be. Rose, you got this. You got the work ethic needed to make it the way it needs to be and learn what you need to learn to make your project great. And you have an amazing I can't even read, an amazing community ready to help and support you. Thanks, Alexei. Yeah, I think I'm a confident person when it comes to something like this. Like, I've always known that I'm meant to create something. So I have that like belief in myself. I'm not one of these people that are full of self-doubt about what I'm doing, which I think helps as well a lot, because if you are one of these people that have got self-doubt and you think your project's terrible and that you're bad at it and what you're doing, you're gonna struggle. So luckily I don't struggle with anything. In fact, I've got more of an ego than anything. But I do like, sometimes I do think ahead and think I hope that I've got to be careful not to put too much on myself at the same time, because I'm not blind to what can happen and what burnout does to people either. So I'm very self-aware and make sure I take the steps necessary to not end up in that situation. So thanks for the kind words, everybody. Okay, so we need to, first of all, let's just hide everything. Let's get it in the way. We've got eyes there. Yeah. Gonna cut the head out first of all. I couldn't find this clothing on a separate layer to the head, unfortunately, so we have to manually cut it out, which isn't too bad. But I think it's worth the time just to get a good early starter gear for our hero that matches with our wooden weapon. This is just extra detail that's not like necessary. If I wanted, I could just be like, we'll just give them any clothes, it doesn't matter. But I like to think about things, and that's why I kind of made a little rough idea here of how the weapons would progress, because I wouldn't want a nasty shock down the line and be like, oh no. Yeah, chop that off. I had to do this sort of thing a few times when when I changed from the default sprites to the tool sprites and was adding clothes to them all. I had to do this quite a bit. I had to put clothes together and edits. I'm going to just get rid of every bit of skin there that shouldn't be there. I think think they're gloves, aren't they? I think I want to cut them out though. So just bare hands. Because this is basic early game equipment. I don't know. Should we keep the gloves? Let's look and see how it looks without. It's because it's the same colour as this sprite's skin. So I'm trying to just distinguishing the skin from the gloves. We'll see when we recolour. We'll delete them after if we feel it's weird. My mouse keeps sticking everybody. I hope it doesn't go. I don't have a normal mouse. I only got a wireless one. I used to have a normal mouse, but it broke. So if you see me like struggling with my mouse, then you know why, it's because it's running out of battery. I have to click on things a few times. So let's overlay that over our custom hero to see how it looks, just out of curiosity. So that's the male torso. This one's definitely made for the this body shape. Yeah, see, it fits that one perfect. So we might have to just make a tiny edit for the masculine shape. But I think this gives me hunter vibes with the green cape. I'm not sure if we should recolour this or keep it the colour it is. That might look nice green as well. But I'm up for thoughts. This here could easily be metal, these shoulders actually. I think they look like sleeves, but we can always disguise that a bit as well. See how it looks without this on. In fact, I'm inclined to chop the shoulders off. Not sure what you folks think, but remember, this is early game gear. It's got to look kind of very basic, especially if we're going to have progression of more epic looking gears as we go on. We don't want to be all armoured up too soon, because then, you know, it's not going to have the wow factor as we start having better looking stuff. Clothes is something I do want to get commissioned eventually when the time is right, so that we can have all these different ones. It's a bit early right now because we're only in episode 1 and we're not going to go beyond to this equipment and maybe one of the 2 gears in this episode, but it's definitely something for the future that I'd like to do. And let's see, I don't have any strong opinions that colour fashion is, or it always has been, beyond me though. What about padded armour like in D&D being the starting armour? Oh, let's have a look, let's Google. I mean, we can only really do what the assets and my artistic ability allow me to do, but an image. Okay. So something to that degree, I think you mean, isn't it, Zaxi? Like, that's clearly not metal or cloth. It's like padded, as you say. Maybe, I mean, I might be wrong here, but I could imagine padded would be one level above cloth armour, because it's a little bit more thick and a bit more protective than cloth armour, but that's just how I'm seeing it. My view might actually be flawed. But does that, it could look like that. Let's just have a look at our asset again. I mean, who knows at what it could be visually. That could easily be cloth, or it could be padded. The way it's pixel art, so really it's, you can't like get the details there too much, but as long as it doesn't look like metal or epic armor, right? Try searching for oh right, let's have a look. Are you imagining a set of robes, or, well, you know, like kind of what this character's wearing here, Dave? Like, looking at this, what would you say it was? Now, if I chop these shoulders off, it definitely gives more cloth vibes, perhaps. But the shoulders are definitely quite bulky, right? They almost, it could be metal for sure, those shoulders, which is why I was inclined to chop them off. So it didn't make our starting armour character look too like bulked up. I want to try and avoid the bulked up look as much as possible and go for a very tatty, torn, worn sort of thin armour as much as possible. But let's search what you guys said. Yeah, I think it's like the texture of it makes it like it's got these diamonds on it, hasn't it? That one. So it would require a bit of extra effort to get that look. It looks like a chain shirt to me. Might be worth making it more brown and less grey. Yeah. So these, do you mean these grey bits on the shoulder? Because those for sure are making it seem like there's a bit of metal. And don't get me wrong, it looks cool with the shoulders, but we don't want it to look too cool. That's the point. We want to look like a hunter that really looks like they need to level up a bit more. If we can get that look, then I think that's good. So I'm inclined to like have this one, but like get rid of parts of it so it just looks very basic. And we did the same for the warrior one too. So that we literally have nothing but a vest, boots and cape. like. We're a wannabe hunter. We should really put our bow on our back, not the axe. You mean the chest piece? Yeah. There's a bit of highlight there, so maybe we could dull that a bit. And get rid of this line in the middle. But that might be boobs. Let's see what happens if we just fill it in a touch. I mean, out of everything online in the resources, this was this looked by far the least metal out of everything. Let me find. I had it tabbed open with all the resources somewhere. Let me get it back. There was another shirt that was like a vest, and I want to compare it to that. There's 6 pages of threads here, so it might take a bit of time to find the one we're after. Yeah, I think that was the one. Let's zoom in so we can see. That one there looks the same, but the one above it looks let's save that. I'm gonna try something. Yeah, that's definitely the same asset. And I do know what you mean. It gives the impression of being because of the sort of cross shape on it, whereas this one doesn't have that. This one looks more like a cloth. I'm going to look at how they shaded it in. Maybe darkening the highlights would help. Yeah. So I'm going to try and copy this the way this particular vest has gone with the shading, because that one definitely gives the impression of being more cloth. It just looks like a button up front to the jacket. This one with this line, is that what you mean? I mean, it's weird how we see it, because honestly, do you want to know what I thought it was? This top. Boobs. That's literally what I thought it was. Just the shape of the boobs. because it's fitted for a female. Or tied up the front, not sure if it has buttons. In all honesty, whether as long as we don't have to fuss about it because we'd be here forever designing it, but as long as it doesn't give the impression of being epic gear is all. We want to just go for the most simple. So obviously cloth feels like a good move. But really the reason I'm changing it in the first place is so we don't have metal armour. Because the current one, the where is it hiding? This one here. That's the one our current one's wearing, which is great and it looks really cool. But it feels too high level. That's really what it is. It feels like this should be a gear that we should be getting a little bit later. Not in episode 1 where we've only got a wooden bow. We should have an outfit that complements the wooden bow is the goal. We don't want to have a badass chest, metal chest piece and a wooden bow. And just something that looks like it's very early game. Okay. But so I'm going to keep that because that will probably be an outfit we'll want later. Continues the rest of the shirt just past where the boobs are. Yeah, it's very it's pixel art, so I'm sure there's many interpretations of what it could look like, but I figured that it could be better to have it look like this. It's a bit more simple and it'll work better because we got to change it to fit the masculine build as well, so it'll look a bit weird having the cross there if it's boobs on the male body. So yeah, we'll go for something like this, but just trying to make sure it looks good first. I think we're sort of close. I think that's almost identical. I might want to go for a slightly darker actually. I was going to colour it in with the paint tool, but it was being weird, so I'm doing it the slow way. But it's a challenge doing this today because my mouse is playing up, so it's kind of a little awkward having to do it. But I'll manage. How many types of armor or clothes are you looking to make? Hi Dinosaur, how you doing? Well, the game's episodic, so it's a series, so it's kind of overwhelming to think of it in regards to that right now. So I kind of just look at episode 1 as a game at this stage. So at the most, when it comes to planning the series, I just do a rough outline, which is what I've I've done on this weapon sprite sheet here. I've kind of just roughly written what kind of weapon types will be in each episode, and I'm sure we'll just have a complimentary outfit with the weapon of each place. So at minimum it'd be 6, 1 per episode, but it doesn't have to be as little as that. We could have 2 types per episode if we wanted, or even 3 if we want to stretch it more, but this is all just stuff that we don't know at this point in time. But because we're at the start, we got to do early games gear. So it could either be 6, 12 or 18 or 24 pieces. Because seeing it as a 6 episodic series, all depends on how many. We can have at least 1 armour shop per episode, so there'll of course be at least 1. But it'd be pretty cool to have armour weapon rewards from side quests too, if we want to have an extra type. Fair enough, having limited scope for episode 1 is a great way to actually get it finished. Yeah, I think like it's probably the smartest way to approach it, because it could easily be overwhelming if you see it that big so early on. And although I do like to now and again at least do a skeleton outline so that I don't get a nasty shock along the way, 95% of the time I focus on the now and what's happening in the current installment. And each episode itself, although it's episodic, is like a game in itself. So it's very much worthy of being seen as its own individual little mini RPG in the end. I think the content we've got planned for episode 1 is going to be decent. It's not going to be like a full-on RPG, obviously, because it's just part of a bigger thing. But the goal is to make it worthwhile and worth people's time. I wouldn't want to just think that'll do. That's enough for episode 1, and it just not be up to scratch enough. If it were me, I'd have 1 weapon and armour type per episode from the shop, and additional weapons and armour obtained from crafting quest rewards. Having 2 new sprite outfits per episode for when you change to better armour. Looks like I'm behind basically what you said yourself. Yeah, we think we have the same minds, Axie, don't we? Thank you so much for that sub, Crow. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Have a bit of hype in chat for that. You get double raindrops now. I hate crafting. Yeah, so it's I think it's up for consideration when we get to the feature stage with how we'll potentially allow the unlocking of a secondary armour. I think at the most simplest and basic level, you'll get your gear in the armour shop by buying it with raindrops, which is the currency of the world. But it just adds a little bit more excitement having something hidden to gain as well, for people who like doing that little bit more. And however we decide, whatever method we go with to get the secret weapon of the episode or the secret gear is something that's still up for consideration. And I know that next year, 2022, is probably going to be the year we think more deeply about those kind of things. The feature mechanics and the fleshing out of the game, filling it out, making it more of a game experience. Because this year is more about getting the foundation down and that main quest base. And once the main quest base is there and it's playable from start to finish, we can go through the scenes and it's fun and the story's awesome. We'll kind of feel like at that point, once that's all in, now is the time to build on this and turn it into an actual game where there's side things to do and side quests to take on, hunts to do, and extra things. And although we might not go insane that it's like an actual MMO, because one person to the top to about everything, because we'll have got the main story done and over with at that point, I'll be able to fully focus on that then, and I won't have the main story distracting me, and I won't be like, oh, but we've got to do the scene and so with Carol with that, and we've got to do that, because when the main quest is still there to do, it's hard to like truly focus on the feature side of things, because it would only distract at this point in time. Only reason I do in Final Fantasy 14 is due to housing, but I find crafting annoying and something I just don't want to do. Yeah, I guess it depends how fun a game makes it, right? And you never know, like, I mean, this is still very early days and no promises, but maybe there could be multiple ways to get the same gear. Like, crafting could be one approach to getting it, but you could get the same gear from a side quest or a secret of a thing. That just an idea. If there's any flaws with that plan, feel free to point them out to me. I know it means you can have a copy of the same outfit if you do both, or the same weapon, but you were crafting Final Fantasy 14. Shoves crafting into that is why the heck would I want my hero to try blacksmith, weave, goldsmith and all that when he's trying to save the world? Good grief, because everybody wants their hero to be a Mary Sue, right? Be able to do everything. And I get the appeal of introducing a lot of features in a game, because that's what keeps the players hooked. Otherwise they'll run out of content and then they'll just not play the game anymore. So ultimately, I think, that's why games do it. But I feel like that's it's for ambitious titles with big teams and MMOs. For single solo developer indie projects, you kind of have to pick and choose what features are really gonna benefit the game and work with the game, because we don't have the time, obviously, to implement every little thing. So it's kind of like shortlisting the best features that will fit and suit the game and what it is. I feel like features define what is possible, but I guess it's because I'm more of a programmer than a storyteller. Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm more of a storyteller. So I naturally want to do what works for the story rather than what's going to be the most flashy feature. But there's some features out there that I'm very attached to and excited by that the game's going to have as well, that I have in mind for it to have. But funnily enough, the features I like best for Raindrop Chronicles are the ones that are related to story, like the romance system, the affinity system, the being able to read books and notes lying around the world, and all those little hidden lore details. Those kind of features. So funny enough, it does tend to be anything that's linked to the story and world and enhances that. I think of crafting as what my character does when he isn't saving the world, a shoot job. Yeah, downtime, hobby time. Professional adventure, just a long way to say lunatic. When I say crafting, I'm using the term loosely to refer to any way a prep player converts some non-gold resource into combat use, yeah. So, I mean, the time will come when we'll think about things like that, because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be more fun if there's more than just one weapon and one armour per game. Adding that extra thing you can get kind of, is fun in a certain way, but there's many options in how to gain that item there's numerous ways. Side quests, hunts, crafting, in a secret spot in a crack in the world just from exploring where only explorers would find. Like there's a lot of different ways you can find secret things or get secret things. We'll do whatever works best and when the time comes. I don't think I was meant to put that extra pixel there. Okay, so let's zoom out and look. Yeah, that's kind of made that look weird now. There we go. It's a little bit weird because they're walking, that's their walk cycle. So, but that one's symmetrical. I should have really copied and pasted the that one. Oh, they look the same to me anyway. I might make them look the same after. We'll move on to the next one. Wow, I've got so many tabs open again. Okay, so now that we've edited it a touch, maybe it looks a bit more like cloth now. I've copied the way that they do the shading with another item that looked a bit more cloth-like. So, and that belt buckle cannot be gold, that's for sure. So I'm going to change that. Now it camouflages, so I'm not sure about that one. But we'll change the colour of that, I'll keep that in mind. I'm not even sure about the pink belt as well. That's a bit too flashy and pretty for an early game thing. But yeah, I've got to keep this in mind. It's got to look rubbish. Well, we don't want it to look terrible, obviously, but we purposely want worn and bad looking gear that isn't going to look super protective or super badass, because then it makes more difference as we progress and get better equipment throughout the game. So I'm purposely getting rid of the details like the shoulder pads and having it as just a simple vest and cape. So to copy this one, or we can just copy the shading. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do it this way. I think we should make it symmetrical though, so I'm going to actually do that because it's bugging me. There we go. I like the belt, nothing wrong with a pop of colour. Yeah, I'm like really trying to make it look so bad, this armour, on purpose. Because I want people to be wowed when they finally do get something that's pretty. I mean, you know, glams in, let's admit it, well, one of the reasons I liked Final Fantasy XIV was because your character looked absolutely dreadful at the start in the dungeons as you were leveling up, but then you finally got the chance to glam your character once you got to level 50, I think, and it made you feel really cool and badass, right? Because you went from looking terrible to looking really awesome. I do agree that the popper colour makes it look better, but like I said, I'm purposely trying to make it look plain. But maybe I'm going a bit too far with making it look bad, guys. What do you think? How does everyone else feel? Are you on team make it look pretty or team make it look horrible and plain? Or somewhere in between? Oh yeah, I was like, why am I chopping the person's face off? And then I realised it's because this face isn't even meant to be on here. We need to cut out the mouth again. Let's title massive huge amounts of layers and do this properly, because I forgot I hadn't done them all. Got to do all the others. And I'm extra slow today at doing this because I have a very mean mouse. A super mean mouse. But whatever I don't do on stream, I'm going to finish off stream. As always. And I would like to hope that by Wednesday we can start Main Quest 3 Seed. I'd be very happy if we did do that, because that would feel like good progress. It's been a slow one the last couple of weeks. Make it look okay, because if it's too bad, people will buy better armour first. They can't even afford it. Final Fantasy XIV character look only used in the glam to make my headgear was always top. Everything else always looked amazing on my Makote. Yeah, I'm not surprised you had a Makote. I'd have had you down for the Makote kind of person. At the moment it looks like a low level armour because there's little coverage, but it still looks aesthetically good. Yeah, so maybe we have the right balance here. And the pop of colour isn't too bad. But if that's the case, we need to at least make the warrior equivalent somewhat stylish too. Because if that's just brown, then people will be like, I'm going for hunter, because the hunter just looks more aesthetically pleasing. So we'll see. So we are going to be doing a warrior equivalent to this armour. I want to kind of put the body there as a base so I can make sure it looks cool. But if the body's there, I'm not going to be able to tell what's skin and not skin on this, because the glove part that I'm removing is very close to their skin colour, so keep it like this. cool. It can be very time consuming to cut out the character bodies in outfits because there's all these walking poses. But once you've done it, that means you can reuse the outfit for multiple characters then. So I definitely think that it's worth it in the long run. Because hello Rex, how are you doing? Happy Monday, I hope you're doing okay. Hope you had a good sleep. Most of the time I get weapons first. And Rex and anyone else who's popping in. Today we are doing something, we're having a chill stream because I had a bit of a bug this weekend. Not a bug as in an illness, a bug as in a computer tech bug on the game. And it kind of has halted the scene progress, which is a bit of a bummer. It always is annoying when bugs happen. And I could have ignored the bug, but it's one of those bugs that I have to deal with now. Otherwise, it's going to just be there and be annoying. So we're doing one of the things on our list to do today, which is to give our hunter and warrior super low level looking armor and gear, because the current armor that they're wearing is pretty not quite mid game level, but it's definitely looks more badass than how it should at this point in the game. So we're kind of going for very thin cloth looking basic lack of coverage sort of armor for them. We basically want it to match with this axe and this bow because it's wooden. That's your starter stuff. This is what you can buy in the full shop, and there might be a third weapon type as well that we go for. I think I have an asset saved for the third type, but the third type is going to look, if we're going to have a third type, I was thinking something that was more floral, like a weapon inspired by floral, like having a flower on it. I think the axe I found had a rose on it, but it was metal. That was the only problem, so we'd have to change the metal part. But these are what we've got for now, and we want the outfit that we give them to match with that wooden thing. We don't want metal chest plate, with a wooden axe or a wooden bow. It wouldn't go aesthetically. You gotta have the aesthetics. It's important. So although we're not actually progressing with the scene stuff today, we're spending time really making sure the aesthetics are working. Bugs are poopy. These look really cool. Yeah. Basically what the bug is, I'll just give you a quick overview of what I've been experiencing. There's a frame that is missing when the custom hero has their weapon put onto them. It's hard to explain, but there's a moment when you grab your axe or your bow from inside Carol in the opening scene, and the animation's great. It works perfectly. I've made it work fine, but it's the technical side that's the pain. There's something in the code that's causing a missing frame to appear, this slight flicker every time the custom hero updates that particular layer for some reason, which is weird because the other layers don't do that. When I've added the hairstyle and the beard and the clothes, it doesn't do the flicker then, but for some reason it's doing the weird flicker when the weapon gets added. So I think there's something in the code that's causing that flicker, because I narrowed it down to what the issue was, and it came down to the script I added that does the layer processing refresh. So it's a little bit technical for me, which are the worst kind of bugs for me, because coding is not my forte. So I'm either going to have to go on Stack Overflow and figure out where in the code it's doing it and changing it, because the person that made that code didn't finish it. So that's the problem. It's unfinished code, so naturally there's glitches are expected. Bye Rex, see you later as I go head out early, see you in a bit. Otherwise, take care, Zexy, thanks for hanging out with us today. And I look forward to showing you these. In the next few weeks, once we finally get the scenes done and all this hard work will have paid off, I'll be able to get some little video clips of the content uploaded to social media for everyone to see, and that'll be fun, because I do like to share it on stream and do test plays, but I know that sometimes you're lurking and you don't always get to watch the test plays on stream at the second I do them, but I'll be able to. I'll do some like video clips when it's all ready. But yes, because of the bug, I don't want to do scene work today, because I want to get that bug out the way before I progress with the scene, because that kind of ruins the scene. It's such a small thing, it's literally just a frame flicker, and if I wasn't such a perfectionist, I wouldn't even care. But the problem is I am a perfectionist, and I don't want any missing frames in my scenes. I want them to look smooth. And I'm thinking, it might not even be that big a problem. It'll probably end up being one of those things that are so easy to solve. I'll be like, damn it. Because that's usually how it always is. You can see the bra underwear under here. So I'm going to have to make that go over that. Because, yeah, they're wearing a bra. And we don't want to see that grey bit, so got to make sure that's covered up. So they're fine. And the top layer's done. I've still got to change the shading in that vest, because so it's like that. Damn, this is doing the clothes, whoa, it's art is so talking so bad. My goodness. Even when I'm not doing it from scratch, like this particular asset isn't even something from scratch, it's an edit and it takes ages. So when I was in the mindset that I could do all the main quest 1 scenes in a single week, I was having a laugh. You cannot do 5 scenes in a single week unless you can, but if you want to do a rush job, or if you're a pro, if you're super experienced at scenes, maybe then as well. but not me. Not quite yet anyway, even though one day I will be a pro. So let's just see how it looks with other skin complexions. It doesn't look too bad with the male body. Just it might need just a slight reshaping. I think the vest is a little bit tight fitted. I think just a few pixels extra in certain parts will make that fit. But let's cut the figure out first before we work with all the reshaping and that. But I think it looks good with the bow. I think I might make the buckle the same colour as that, maybe. So it's like a wooden buckle rather than a gold one. I definitely don't think the gold is quite... I mean, the gold is great, but that will be for a bit later with better armour. But we'll work on that, the detailed editing, once we've cut the bodies out. Just double checking it works with all. Blue. Yeah. Okay, so a week. It's a matter of working hours. I was like, what first week we'll do main quest 1 and the second week of streams we'll do main quest 2, and it's more like a whole week has just been one main quest. Never mind. I mean, one scene in the main quest. I'm getting all my words mixed up, forgive me. And we have 5 scenes per main quest. So some, like, don't get me wrong, some scenes have got more work in than others, and that opening scene definitely was one that does, because it's also linked to the custom hero, and that needed a lot of polishing too. I mean, technically, doing this job here is more linked to the custom hero than it is the opening scene. But because putting our clothes on are a part of the opening scene, they're sort of linked. You know, I'm going to try something. Can I get away with flipping these assets and mirroring? Because that's what I've done with the other clothing assets and it's worked. Because that'll save time. Sometimes they look different, so it doesn't always work. You'll look at the middle one as an example. It's only from what I can see with the middle frame anyway, it's only the belt buckle that's different. And that's just a small change, so that's just gonna save time then having to remove the character. Yeah, so I just got to remember to change the belt buckle, but everything else looks fine. So we'll delete. And our hero should look cool wearing them. We got to still do the shading of the top on the side ones, which we'll do in a sec. Oh my god, look at me ignoring my chat. How dare I? How are you doing, Vagabond? Let's catch up with chat. Getting super focused, man. It's just seen chat's been talking. If 5 quests would take you 60 hours, then you could finish it in 5 12-hour days, should you? Yes. Whatever it takes, Dava. Big fun sprites time. How's it going, Wayne Gang? Look at all those raindrops. You did break 1k. Are you proud? Oh my gosh, Dava and Vagabond are quite close, I see. 50 and 56 in the top 50, Dave, GG. But yes, we, Vagabond and anyone else who's coming in, what we're doing is the purpose of this is we're cutting out this particular character here. This is our layered PSD file of our custom hero. We want to use this outfit for our starter gear for our hunter class. That's the purpose of this, because our current starter gear is too epic looking. There's like proper chest plate and everything, and we're in, you know, we want to have tatty armor, so that's what we're doing. We're going for basic, very little covered up cloth gear here. So we're cutting out this face, and we're going to make a few little edits. We need to make it fit for a male torso, and we want to change the gold belt buckle as well. And but it'll be workable then for hopefully everybody will fit in it, and it'll look good on all the heroes that are hunters. And we got to do the same for warrior as well. I've already got a good asset that we can use for the warrior one, but it probably would need a bit of recolouring. In fact, it will, because I want it to match in colour scheme to this. Okay, so where we were doing the back, aren't we? So we just need to chop the head off. Let's get the body. There's a bit of hair here, so it might chop a bit of our cape off, which we don't want. So because of that, we're gonna have to, I've got a plan. I do have a cape asset lying around that's on its own on a single layer, so I'll just have to overlay it over to make up for the bit that got chopped off. It's a bit annoying, you know, when hair covers up the clothing assets and then it's been chopped off. But that's kind of the way I approach it. But we're chopping off these badass looking shoulders so that we don't look too armoured up. Let's get a head there so we can actually see the head. Yeah, the cape's a bit chopped off, and that's because the hair chopped off. But it might be an easy enough fix. It's only a few pixels off, and And I might be able to do that myself without needing to find a cloak sprite to overlay. It's not as bad as I initially thought. Yeah, and it's only the cape that's visible from the back. You won't be able to see the vest because there's no arm gear on this. Number 7, GG Van. You'll get in the top 5 at this rate. What do I do now? Vagabond asks. Well, once you get 1k, we got to give you the legendary raindrop roll in the Discord, so we'll do that. And you have the option to fill in a character form now as well, Vagabond. If you wish to be a character again, which you can do via the website, which is here. You just need to scroll all the way to the bottom and there'll be a form you can fill in. Okay. I need to name these layers better because I'm getting all confuzzled. I'll do that after. Need to get 4k quick. You cannot get it quick. There's no shortcuts. And there's no rush either because I'm not doing this development quick, so just take your sweet time, it's what I say. The humongous amounts of raindrops that you can potentially get is all proof of being a badass and loyal community member. It's a reflection of that. I saw a little alert pop up in the corner and I missed it. I want to know what it said. Okay, so job done. Well, one of a bazillion jobs done anyway. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's only can literally fill in the missing gaps with this darkest screen and it doesn't even look too bad because there's not too much that we lost. In fact, I'm convinced that the bit that we did lose was probably just the dark green bits. And you know, it's important that we make sure that all the clothing's visible, even, you know, because you do have the option of having a hero with no hair. You can have a bald hero if you want. Okay, now it's just all the little edits now So let's put those layers together. There's a few bits to fix. I see that the cape is a little chopped off. Simple enough fix. We can sorry about the sneeze if you heard it. My mic tends to pick up a lot of things, so you may have heard somebody sneeze. Jesus, it's a loud one. The good thing is, like, if it turns out something looks a bit not very good, like some of the sprites need to be cleaned up, say, but I've already done the asset, it's an easy job because I can just edit what's necessary and then it'll just dynamically change for all the heroes. Now we've got a layered system in place. Whereas the old way, we would have had to have changed every single clothing asset for every single hero. But it's considerably easier this way, but that doesn't mean there's still not work to do. Still doing the art, and that is still time consuming. I shouldn't be this zoomed out, I should go in closer. I gotta copy really what that one looks like. Do just that pixel's the one that we don't need. No, I think we can get rid of that extra sprite that's extra pixel that's there to round it the cape off a bit, a little bit square. It was just me as an alert. It must have been. I don't know if I should have done that. Might have been fine as it was. Okay, so we got to just copy what this one looks like for this. I could do the flip rotate thing again, but it's a simple edit, so. I think that's the same. Alright, so we've done the hard bit. the messy, time-consuming bit of cutting the old figure out that we got the resource from. So let's just do the details now. Wow, look at the time. Once again, stream's gone too fast. And I wanted to do the warrior today as well, and it didn't happen. Okay, so let's do the... Look at Nigel. Okay, so what we can do is... funnily enough, I took the bit from the back. Just realised now, that's the back of the vest. The front of the vest is this. The one we don't want, the one that looks like boobs. So, in fact, it worked anyway, doing it that way. So, unfortunately, we don't have an asset to copy from for that view, but we can just wing it. So, we will... I need to disguise the boobs a bit, but I don't know. I mean, this one works fine for a female, or feminine shaped hero character, but for the male, we will have to. Yeah, the male one would just get rid of a bit of the boob. Let's just see if how it fits. Yeah, just a bit of extra pixels to cover for the guy. That won't be too bad. So we just like getting rid of that bit because it looks a bit, the community feels it looks a bit like chest plate and chain armour, which we don't want to give that impression of it being like that. So we want to make it look more flat and simple and more like a cloth material. That's probably fine. Maybe just the odd pixel or two we need to. Thank you, Zombie, for that follow. I appreciate it. Maybe one more hour. Unfortunately, I cannot stay as much as I'd like to. I have dinner, and I definitely have a rumbly tummy, so one thing I try to do is not neglect my meals or my sleep. Funnily enough, I know I was saying earlier that I had a super late night. Stayed up until the early hours, way into the early hours. But I don't neglect my sleep, even so. I still try to get at least 8 hours of sleep in a night, and I think that's important because once you once you do that, you just end up all over the place. Even though I kind of am anyway. Oh, hi G'day Rod. How's it going? Welcome back. I'm still here. I'm still going to be I might try and go over 6 a little bit, but we'll see. Got it on the male physique here. Let's put it on the proper one, because it's deceiving. Can't tell. Yeah, that's why I got rid of that pixel, because it looked weird on that body, but it wasn't meant to be on that body. Got the stuff picked up, so I don't have to worry about going to get food once the oatmeal and bread runs out, so Thursday or maybe Friday, because honestly not feeling hungry right now. Give me some then, Rob, because I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry. I'm like a beast when it comes to food. I never used to be. When I was in my 20s, I wasn't. But as soon as I got old, I just became hungry all the time. Old what? Yeah. Well, to some it is. I don't think so. I think 30s and 40s are people's primes. Like Rosa Myogas, I am perpetually hungry. Not. Wow. Time goes by very quick. I'm not old yet, but one day. Kind of scary. How fast time goes. Okay, that's done. I'm just noticing the difference in my body. It's all like, now I'm in my 30s and not my 20s anymore. There's definitely a difference. Hunger's just one of them. I need to exercise. I need to learn from Van and start exercising. Cold weather affects you weirdly. Hot weather affects me. We can do this more easy. Oh, hang on, let's just edit this one a little bit. But just for the sake of saving time, we'll just do this again. I think that's meant to go on that one though. So we've done that bit. Now, what was the other job we wanted to do? It was the belt ball. That's what it was. So let's get our bow on our back, and maybe we could sneak a colour from that, because it'd be nice to make it complement the weapon we've got, and we know we don't want a dazzling gold for starter gear. So we'll see if we can have a wood belt buckle. You can't see the bow on the back, and that's because, you know, it's quite thin, but it is on there. So we'll edit this one because we can see a few of the colours there. But this wood, it's the exact same colour as the trees of Lakeville, so consistency, you know, makes it look like the wood chopped from nearby trees. If we ever do change the colour palette or the assets in the future, then it's a simple change, because all of these are on a separate layer in a PSD file, so it's not like I've flattened them and all the animations are attached. You can just grab and change as necessary. It'd be an absolute pain if there was all attached, but they're not. That and messing with your sleep schedule in your 30s. Hi Caspot, how are you doing? And Mana, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, you gotta look after your body. I'm starting to realise that as I'm getting older, and I know I'm not old, guys, don't worry. I feel like I'm in my prime, and nowhere close to my prime actually. But there's definitely a change with in your 20s you can get away with anything, I feel, but you can't. I feel like I should exercise more now, and when the spring comes, when I've moved house, I'm going to actually put time into doing that. Whereas when I was in my 20s, I didn't feel like I had to bother one bit, because didn't affect me, the lack of exercise back then. Because, you know, I want to be here till I'm 90 years old, still making video games for you all. I don't want my life cut short, so I want to look after myself. Yeah, when you're in your 20s, you feel like you're invincible. Yeah, I felt like that. I was a little bit like, oh, I don't need to eat healthy, and I don't need to exercise, and I don't need to go to sleep on time. Very cocky. And I'm still a little bit like that now, but I'm realising, I'm learning otherwise, I'm learning different. You just become more conscious about yourself and your body as you get older. You start to care a bit more. And that's something I've slowly been learning in the last year or so. Maybe even less than a year, actually. It's very recent I've started to feel this way. It's just something that never crossed my mind when I was in my 20s, and never would have. I'm even surprised myself that I'm thinking this way now. And when you sit down so much working all the time, it starts hitting your knees, your legs and all that, yeah. And when I was like in my 20s, like my parents would be like, well, anybody, they'd be like, you have to do this, you have to. And I'd be like, oh no, just shut up, I don't need to do that. But I can see what people were right by saying that. I purchased one that moves up and down as I work. It's been a game changer for me as far as working all day at a computer, yeah, because as someone like me, I'm always sitting down. I don't have a standing desk, and it's important more than ever that I look after myself and get up now and again and exercise. Time to go put away the cat food and litter. So hope you have a good evening and stay warm. Take care, Rod. What about you, chat, though? Are you like me, how I was a year ago, where you don't care about your body and you're like, I'm fine, I'll eat and sit on my bum and do whatever I want as long as I'm happy? That was my attitude when I was in 20s. But Neuros in the last 6 months, he's thinking like Van. It's mainly because I just want to be able to have a long lifespan so I can make games for decades, and not have to feel like I don't want to be in a situation where I have to give up my passion because I can't, my body doesn't let me do my passion anymore because I'm too unfit. So that would be devastating. So I'm thinking in the long term. I exercise 5 days a week for at least 30 minutes or more. I call it body maintenance. I have way too many friends younger than me suffering health issues due to weight. Yeah, and in the last several months, I've started to become so much more aware of that. And I'm like, I don't want to ever put myself in that position, or try my best to reduce the chances of it happening as much as possible. I mean, none of us can insure ourselves of anything, but we can reduce the chances of something happening to our bodies as much as we can. So where were we? This should be easy enough to edit. So we'll get the darkest brown. We're making this belt buckle the same colour as our weapon. That's the goal. I'm trying to get all the shadings in. It's a little bit grey, that one. Have we got yeah, maybe that's a better colour. No, that's a little bit the same as the other one, so let's do it this way. Oh my goodness me, thank you for the 300 bitties, King of Spades. That's very kind of you to do. I appreciate that. Should we have some hyping chat, everybody, for the bitty love? Thank you so much. How are you doing, King of Spades? I put a hashtag in the chat, a random hashtag. Well deserved. Well, I'll be even more deserving of it when you guys have a playable build to play. I think you guys are going to fall in love even more with Raindrop Chronicles when that time comes. I'm pretty proud of the community I've got here for not even having a proof of concept yet. I feel really awesome that you guys have such trust and belief in me. And yeah, it's all on the person to decide if they are going to take care of the body they have. I've tried to help friends get motivated to work out, but most of them don't care, sadly. Yeah, you know, that they were like old Rose. They're like, oh no, don't tell us what to do. You're not my mother or my daddy. That's what I used to think. Yay, thank you for the high pool. I hope your cat's okay as well, Rod. I just noticed you said you were gonna put away the cat food and litter. Okay, so let's see the result of this new belt buckle, however you say that word. I don't like it. It's a horrible colour. It's like it's brown with like a tinge of green to it. Maybe it's only because it doesn't complement the rest of the outfit, but I'm tempted more to make it the same colour as the boots. Or maybe if I made the boots that colour and the top that colour, it'd look better. I think it's just the different shades of brown that are making it a bit of a mishmash right now. Let's just have a try of recolouring stuff. What's this here? Oh, that's the bow. I'm gonna just copy this and hide the layer in case I make a mess it up and I'm like, actually no, we'll go back to how it looked before. But we'll just, out of pure curiosity, we'll see how it looks. Oops. I think that needs to be a slightly lighter shade. Yeah, that's very rough. I don't like what has happened to the top of the boots at all. So if I was going to go with that, I'd have to recolour those a bit better. But the one good thing about going with that colour scheme is it does match the weapon, but maybe we're overdoing it. We don't have to have the shirt and everything the same, but it did look a bit odd with the buckle. You know, I'm not sure. I've been getting some extra motivation from Legmog. Followed him after he raided him one day, catching his workouts sometimes in the morning beyond the ones I'm doing on my. Now that's awesome. Yeah, Legmog's a good guy. Super nice chap. That's nice that you've been going to his streams. I like the community to make friends with each other. This time I'm gonna try colouring this belt with the colour of the shoes and see how that goes. It might complement much better. I smell food. Well, that white bit is a bit light. But Let's try getting just a paler beige or something. My goodness, that food smells delicious. I think we're getting closer. Ultimately, we just don't want it to be gold. I'm just going to try going a bit darker. Okay, so the shape of the outfit's fine. I've got to make it fit for the male torso though. I'm not 100% sure of the colour scheme yet. I'm going to have a mess around it. It's all going to be depend on what the warrior outfit looks like too, because I want them to have the same or a close colour scheme. But as for the warrior outfit, have I got something to show you guys on what I'm planning for that? Let me have a look. Surely I didn't cross that off. Let me reopen my tabs. Here it is. Yeah, the one that I was working on was mainly fitted for the like feminine torso, but there's not too much difference with the masculine. It's just slightly wider and flatter and squarer, so just a few pixels in the shirt need changing really. It's not anything extensive. This one here that this orc is wearing was literally the most primitive warrior looking outfit that I could find. I was looking for something that was very, very, what's the word? There was an example on here that was perfect. That I had in mind for warrior, but I couldn't find the asset. Let's see if I can. Something like a hide armor thing would have been a good look. Can't find it. Got to zoom in now. Something like that was what I had in mind for a really basic warrior look. This hide armor on the far right. Oh my goodness, can you please? Yeah, that one. I don't think you can see me pointing at it because my arrow's not on the stream. But the top row and the far right, but didn't have any luck finding an asset that resembled that. So I'm thinking we could use that and make it look like that, but it's just going to be tough. I struggled more with the warrior than I did the hunter for finding the ideal look. This star might be good. Let's have a look. Hi Phoenix, how you doing? Welcome. Yeah, like, you know, something like that van, like torn, very early level warrior sort of style, that hide armor look, almost like a torn skirt as well. get that. That's something that works. But yeah, it's just finding the perfect asset. I might have to Frankenstein some together to get the one I want, but I'm gonna have a mess with that tonight, because that's what I'm gonna try and finish tonight. I'm gonna try and get both the outfits done and updated, and then that's that job out the way. We can tick that off the list then. And then I've got to just fix that annoying bug, and then after that, those Duncan and Nigel animations, just ones we've got here. That one that I showed off the stream before this stream. Is it Friday's stream? I showed you guys that. I think it was. And this one. Whether we have any luck with a shake, we'll see. But I still like the asset even when it's static. Even if we just have it static with him blinking even. As you mentioned, a blink. But I'll try the shake, but if the shake does look unnatural, I'll probably give it a miss for the sake of it not looking weird. But I'll attempt and see. And then just literally one dialogue box edit within the Nigel scene, the picking flowers one. We wanted to make it link more to the deaths of Fiona's parents to give it more of a more interesting and more fitting with the character. And other than that, scene 2 is already fine. We just wanted to make it better by making the Nigel asset more in character. Everything else in the scene it's not an action based scene. There's not any other complexities other than an edit to the dialogue box. So as soon as I've got those outfits done, and I've added Duncan to doing that animation, and fix the bug, scene 1 is done as well. So I'm thinking if all goes productively for me, the next couple of days we'll be able to move on to the scene 3 scene on Wednesday, which I've wanted to do for a while because I'm just excited to do more scenes. It's annoying when you're held back by little bits and bobs, and especially techie bugs are the worst when they haunt you, but it's also important to be patient and not get frustrated. And how about this? See, light armour section there, padded leather and shirt style tops. Thanks for the references, because I'll have a look at this as well and keep it tabbed open. Oh, let's have a look at this a little bit closer. This is good. What is the source of this, and is there the usage? Do they allow you to use these assets? Because I just want to know for when I how far I can go in terms of being inspired by this, because I don't want to full on take the asset if the usage doesn't allow me to. But if it doesn't, if this is someone's art, then I can just use it as a sort of inspiration. And it'll help, get a good visual look in mind. But those light armors are great, especially those brown ones for an early starter gear for warrior. So I could always use those as a visual reference. And thanks, sir. There's another one as well. Let's get this one up. Oh, these are great references. The pixel art is generally a little bit more slightly simple than the ones we're doing, but it'll help. It'll be a great guide. Just say we can get like the actual look and texture down will really help, and the shape as well. So what I'm going to do I'm going to attempt to almost create this asset from scratch. Not quite. I think I'm going to take an RPG Maker resource as a base to work off. One that's as close as possible, but then edit that asset to get the look in mind that we're after. I think that'd be great. I think a nice brown coloured starter gear asset. And I'll mess about with colour schemes, get the right browns on both and make it look good with the weapon as well. So that's the goal. I'll probably be spending tonight just finishing that because there's a little bit of work to do, more than I thought. Simply because there wasn't the assets that weren't perfect for starter gear level warrior and hunt. The ones that are online as resources, the ones that are there are all really badass and more for epic looking characters. It's hard to get that starter gear, those starter gear clothing assets. So there's a little bit more work involved in edits and getting them to look right. So I'll mess about with that, and then the other priority is fixing the bug. And seriously, once that bug's out the way, the rest of it's going to be simple, and it'll be really cool to progress to main quest 3 and 4 and 5. I'm thinking a level cloth one, but recoloured red could make for a nice puffy, yeah, and that'd look very dapper, Met. It'd be nice if that was maybe a later level one. I purposely don't want them to look too stunning, because otherwise players will be like, wow, I love this outfit, and they won't ever want to get out of it. And especially if the next one in the shop looks worse, they'll be like, well, I looked better before when I had this weaker armour. So I kind of do want to, like, whatever's lower in strength and protection, I want it to make sense and actually look worse than the stuff that's better. But yeah, feel free to throw references, even if it's in the Discord, folks, even if it's not for the starter gear, even if it's for future gear that you've got ideas in mind. You know, even though we're not going to be making the assets for the future gear yet, because it's just we'd never get the first playable build out. I mean, who knows, in the future I might be able to commission and outsource those, because I might be in a better spot then, and I might be in a position where I can, like, once episode 1's out of the way and we're thinking more about what comes next. But it's cool to have the reference ideas in mind, because even if I do outsource and get stuff commissioned, I'll need to show the artist what we're going for. So it's cool if you guys have thoughts, and we got the Discord ideas discussion channel as well if you've got any ones to put in. And yeah, though some NPCs might be wearing better armour than the player can get at the time, and I like how this shirt you just did turned out. Yeah, it's not too bad. It looks more like cloth now, doesn't it? Just plain old simple thin cloth. We didn't want it to make it look too detailed and too much texture going on, because it can come across as it's, you know, better armoured and thicker than we want it to. So we've simply made it look a bit simple, and it's shaped for the female torso a little bit with this dip where the boobs are, but I'm going to do the exact same outfit for the masculine body as well, and there's just a slight few pixel adjustments for that one. And the colour scheme, I mean, I'm still going to experiment. The green's great. I mean, whether I change some of the browns, I don't know, but I think this is very close in look to how it will be, the shape of it anyway. And yeah, exactly, we can use these resources for NPCs as well, just a change in colour scheme maybe for some of them. And yeah, It's not. It's a very good thing to do what I've done today, and let's just get it up quickly. It's a good idea if you've got a lot of NPCs in your game to split the assets up into parts. Ever since we decided to move to tall sprites, that's when I did this. Before, everybody was just like attached to in one single PNG file, and I couldn't separate everybody's clothes from their bodies. But this is it's a smart way to do it, because it's a simple overlay over any NPC we make. Then we'll have a collection of clothes in our PSD files, and it's just a simple copy and paste and a change of colour scheme, and it makes our job easier in the long run to do it that way. And it might seem like a lot of work to actually make a clothing asset, but you can surprise yourself how often you'll reuse that in the future, because that could easily be reused, with NPCs and any other future gears we give as well. Yes, awesome. Feudal era tank top, yeah, that was the goal, and I think that's perfect for Hunter. I see Hunter as, your cape, your green cloak, that's like essential for a Hunter. But the actual clothing under that cloak, I wanted it to be simple, like a piece of cloth, nothing extravagant, for the sake of it looking like starter gear. As cool looking as this gear looked for the Hunter, I knew that it wasn't right for starter gear, and that's why I wanted to, to do the assets today, because if I'm going to be taking screenshots for the Steam page, which is next on the radar for me, but it's been halted because of assets in our screenshots that aren't updated. This being an example, I don't think I'd be happy showing this on the Steam page screenshots. I'd want to have the characters in their proper gear, the starter gear, on the screenshot examples, not have them wearing this in the Everbloom files, because it'll be misleading. And it's not like, still we're in the first build, so it's not like the screenshots have to look perfect and how it'll look at when the game's released, because I can see things progressing over time between now and the full release, but I still want them to look as good as they can, and that we're not misleading anyone, and we kind of give people the right vibe of what the game is. So yes, that is an essential thing that needs to be done, getting that gear, the proper gear, on before I take the screenshots from my Steam page too. But I'm hoping I can eventually feel these screenshots are good enough in the coming weeks and get that submission done. It's a good timing if I can get it done in the next few weeks, because then it'll be our 2-year anniversary since the project begun. And how cool would it be to say Steam pages launch, the coming soon Steam page, on the second anniversary of doing the project, because that was when we did stream number 1 of Raindrop Chronicles. We're on stream like 230 now, so it's been a journey of a lot of learning and a lot of experience and a lot of changing things, and a lot of character development and ideas over these streams. Hi Coda, how you doing? It's so good to see you. I hope you're having an awesome Monday. How are things? It's nice to have assets like that. It might also let them change outfits based in time of day. Yeah, and I'm not going to think as advanced as NPCs having multiple outfits just yet, because then we might overcomplicate it this early on. But the option's always there, especially when I've got them layered like this, because it's as long as the assets are there, it's simple enough to do a copy and paste over the body without it being like a ridiculous amount of work, right? So when it comes to the fulling out stage and filling that game out, I might start thinking then, yeah, let's give them more outfits to some of the NPCs if we want it to feel more real and things like that. But the main thing is, in regards to outfits, I like the idea that you as the player can change. You visually update your armour. That's the number one feature for armour that I want to make sure of, and that's another good reason I'm really happy we've got a layered custom hero now, because we would have just had to have had the same outfit the whole game otherwise before then. We should have had that same hunter outfit forever and that same warrior outfit forever. But seeing that progression, I think, is very satisfying visually. Seeing you look bad and then look badass as you play an RPG. I think that's what makes RPGs fun, like seeing the visual changes in gear. So I love it. And trying to do some basic RPG Maker animation. I know Colder Pill, oh my god, isn't that a mood? Because RPG Maker, like, you gotta really do hacks and things, haven't you, to do animations. And our last stream on Friday and Wednesday last week was a very animation heavy stream for us, and I just like put on all the different frames on different sprite sheets, and do it the old-fashioned way of calling the proper frame into RPG Maker. But you kind of it's still a bit complex, because by default RPG Maker doesn't let you select individual frames, does it? You have to I have to use like a script to get it to pick frames, and then I put wait commands in between and until it looks like a good animation. Because I've started doing animations like this in Photoshop. Like, I get the timeline out, and like, this is a guy with an axe ready to smash something, which I think was pretty good for a couple of hours work for a noob. So basically, I haven't put him in yet, but every single frame I'm going to just put in on the RPG Maker sprite sheet and then just set up an event. And I'd love to see how you do it as well, Coda. I'm curious, because everyone has their own process, I'm sure, but I'm sure a lot of people do it this way as well. I'd love to know if there's other ways. This way seems like the most simple, the way I currently do it, but it can be extra time consuming, especially if you really want to be detailed with the animations. But it's well worth it, in my opinion, because your scenes just look better in the long run. Hi Anon, and hi Mom, how you doing? Okay. Right guys, am I late for dinner? I'm gonna have to put us end to the stream, but I get so carried away with the chats. But you guys know what I'll be up to tonight and between now and next stream. So let's see who's on. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, everyone, and for the chats. Good day. All right, so Vagabond's on. We'll just go over to him today. I can't hang about though. So you guys, tell him that I've headed off my din-dins and that, and have a look what he's up to today. No trivia today because of the lack of time, but if we finished a bit earlier next time, we'll do some trivia, some Raindrop Chronicles trivia. Have a great night. You too. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and I'll see you all on Wednesday. Take care, everybody. Van was excited for the trivia as well. We might do 2 on Wednesday to make up for it. We'll do that. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.